Welcome back to the shop. I'm Jeff from Today's Craftsman, and this week we're going to talk a little bit about interior trim, but first a word from our sponsor. Promotional support for this episode is provided by Enduro by General Finishes. Enduro is our choice for professional wood coatings. Proudly manufactured in the USA, Enduro provides a strong, consistent, and predictable finish. From whites to colors to custom match stains, you can find it all under the Enduro system. For more information, visit generalfinishes.com. If you've been following the channel, you know that I've been working on my kitchen, trying to get it done before Thanksgiving, which if you're watching this video was a couple days ago. But in front of me here is a casing for one of the windows in my kitchen. And you can see we have some pieces here and it's all assembled. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I did here and why. So this is for a replacement window. So I live in an old home. It's about 100 years old. So some time ago, they replaced the old wooden sash windows with aluminum windows. I actually pulled those out and I replaced them with vinyl replacement windows. So those just sit inside of the, the original frame. And when you finish off a replacement window with casing, typically you'll apply your casing and then you apply a stop that sits up against the original window jamb and the edge of your casing. I'm not the biggest fan of the way that looks, and I don't really need to access these windows. I'm okay with pulling off the trim if I need to. So what I did is I built extension jambs and casing in one. So I was able to paint these in the shop and install them in one piece. So what I have here is the extension jamb and the casing on top. So I built these first. Let's flip this over so you can get a better look at how I accomplished this. So we have a 3/4 inch extension jamb. So I measured from the face of the window to the sheetrock, and I found what would fit best. Obviously it's going to be a little inconsistent. So I went with 1 5/16" on these, and this is actually 3/4 inch HDF. Really paintable, moisture resistant. It's all back primed. So I assembled these with glue and screws. And then what I did is I took all of my extension jambs and I marked out my reveals on the face. So I have 1/4 inch reveals. That's sort of an arbitrary dimension. It could be an 1/8 inch, 3/16. I like to go with a 1/4 inch. So I marked out my reveals, and then I was able to take measurements. So I took measurements from short point to short point, and I went over to the miter saw, and I cut my miters. Then I put some Lamello Clamex in the corners. So I have a Clamex here in each miter, and I was able to lock these together with glue. Show you the hole. You can see right here, I was able to pull these together with glue and let them set up to dry. I have a few windows in the kitchen, some of which have 2 windows, so I put a mullion in the center there, and I actually installed those already. So what I did is I was able to just lift this entire assembly into the opening, and it sort of just sat there on its own. I could get it centered, and I just went ahead and nailed it off. It's already painted, so now all I have to do is fill those holes, and I can touch up paint the face. I'm not painting it 2-3 coats in place. So it made the installation very easy, less mess in my house as I'm trying to get finished with the kitchen. But let's talk a little bit more about this molding and the design. For me, it was very important to have a cohesive design in my kitchen so that the moldings that I chose for the windows and doors and the baseboard would complement my cabinet doors. So I went with the MCC 412 from Garden State Lumber Products, and that's in the Metro collection. So this is their catalog here. So this is the casing I went with, and it has a nice modern design, has this groove and the chamfer. I have chamfers on my cabinet doors, so I wanted to tie that in. And I wanted something fairly large, so 4.5 inches worked well. And I wanted to have everything, matching, so I also went with Metro Collection baseboard and shoe molding, so we can take you over to the rack and take a closer look at those. We have our other moldings here, so this is my baseboard, 7.25 inches, I believe. I have our casing here so you can see, what that's going to look like. And then I have a shoe molding. So that is right here. So this I'll actually return back. So, you know, you can get an idea. Be something like this. And our shoe molding will be returning back into the face of the baseboard. Also have a crown for the cabinets. So I'm not running crown around the room, but I will run it around the tops of my cabinets. So this will be painted the matching green color. But again, this is a solid crown from the Metro collection. So if you're getting to the point in your own home renovation where you're thinking about interior trim, do yourself a favor, stay away from the home store. You can find a source like Garden State Lumber Products. I know they're available up and down the East Coast and maybe nationwide. You can find their catalog and really pick out some trim that's going to complement the work that you've done and be cohesive with one another. So if you have any questions about trim or anything else, be sure to leave them down below, and we'll see you next week.